Hello, everyone. Here we go. Go ahead and mute. Here we go. Good evening. Hello, darling. All right, everyone. We're just gonna get started here and wait till everyone joins in, and then we'll get going here in a minute. So again, thank you all for joining in. And I think that's it. I think I have everything that I need. Hello, hello. Hello, Amanda. Good evening. Well, here in Austin. Beautiful. There we go. Get more people in the room. Say hi in the chat if you like. I don't have anyone monitoring the chat this evening. My guy is out in Italy. So if you have something you want to ask, maybe a little bit later, yes, you can call me Miss. Hello, Amanda. Miss Roxanne's fine. Miss Rox. Hello, Lucia. If you have any kind of a question, I'll get to it and we'll get going on that later on. I think I need one. I'm going to put on my other glasses for a minute. Computer glasses so I can see you better. So very good. All right, 11 in the house. Good, we'll keep going. Hello, Tam. Hello, darling. Hi, Tam. Love you too. Mwah. Watching your interview at ED. Slide Osipius, yes. You in the, yeah, you were in the thing today, Amanda, were you there? Slide Osipius, good evening. Thank you, hon. Okay. So people will join in, and as they do, they watch in their own time. So we'll go ahead and get going here, and I'll keep my eye on the chat. Okay, so again, I want to reiterate some items. And this is a very difficult idea to grasp. It took me several ideas, several manifested moments of this relationship to realize the authenticity behind it. We must take into account everything is here and now. How do we have a future? We think what is possible in our future, what's in our memory. Our memory is our past, which is created in the now. So it's all created here and now. So when we're looking at the idea, okay, stick with me. We're looking at the idea of what's happening out there. Is that happening out there? Or is that happening here and now? If you can get a grasp that every interaction with your current reality is your final experience of that moment, then you can see this idea in a steeper, more deeper validity of externalism that I've been talking about. So let's say you're talking about something that is happening, or that has happened, or that might happen, but it's not in your bubble. Your bubble is an occurrence of a moment, a constantly changing moment. And then that idea of your interpretation of that now, and I don't mean interpretation of what's around. I'm not talking about defining the reality. I'm talking about interpreting your reality of your own experience, the entire idea. So if you're having a debated conversation, whether aliens are evil or good, or whether there is truly a demonic spirit, or that's just human, or if a soul itself is a human term, or if the creator is an idea of this endless source of non-consciousness, all of that is an interpretation of your here and your now. What you put together in time is a string of nows. It's like a string of pearls. Each pearl is a now. And then you look at them with your memory and stretch them out, and you have a history. And out of that history, you calculate using your great calculating mind of contemplation and formulation to string of new pearls that are not happening yet, but of possibilities. But that's just creating another pearl, and another one, and another one, and another one. So has anyone noticed that every time, if you're very involved, and you have to be, let me preference this with brutal honesty, okay? Your mind of time needs to be dealt with brutal honesty, not against it, that you are keeping yourself in time, and that admission is your brutal honesty to yourself. So preference this idea with that. So if you're talking about what's not going on now, it actually is going on now. But it's not going on now as a reality outside of you. It's going on right now because you're creating it right now. You're putting energy into that. You're creating your pearl of now. And you string it together with the next moment, string it together with the next moment, and string it together with the next moment. And all of a sudden you have a timeline. And in that timeline, you have a life, a human experience. So now the brutal honesty part in a different angle. Go ahead and look at your life and look at your memory and look at your ascension idea and look at how much work you're doing to ascend the self and how much work you're putting into the now about keeping yourself. And what I mean about keeping yourself is keeping the version that is casting its ideas as an externalism, validity, how to validate your life as external, which we do every day as humans. You're just changing the terms. You're still doing the same action, the same relationship. The frequency remains the same. You might change the words, but you're still the vibrational enactment of the now pouring into your vortex of the now is the idea of externalism. How many years have you talking about the same thing? You've just changed the names. And we're not talking about the details. We're talking about how you feel, the way you're relating to reality as a truth. I don't know how many people I've listened to over the years, and I stopped listening to them years ago, but over the years about conspiracy theories. Everything that's not happening. How many times have Nubira, the Anunnaki? I've never met a fucking Anunnaki, but I got an Anunnaki idea from a human. So what am I supposed to do with that idea? Carry it with me for 20 fucking years? Or can I put that toy down, that toy that's debatable, that toy that is separated, that toy offers polarity, debate, emotion, validating the experience of the human that lives in externalism. If I put that down, then I have time and relevance to work on my relationship that I saw that. See, it's not that Anunnaki are real or not real. Of course not. Everything is real, everything is reality. It's the relationship to the Anunnaki, or the relationship to the reptilians, or the relationship to demons, or the relationship with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's definement in relationship. How can I make a difference in the world? Well, here's the newsflash. I already fucking am. And so are you. You know what your difference is? Your presence. You're a part of all that is. You cannot be any greater or any less than, because you are vibrating constantly the presence of yourself. That's part of the all. And not only is it part of the all, it is one. So you can't get any better. Now, you can take your largeness and you can squash it down into a finite focus of intention to create an idea of a outcome that your mind formulates that is the best case scenario for the human collective. But the human collective has no business in your world, nor they come into your world and change it because they're not in your world. They're in their world. Remember, we're an infinite number of singular dots, light bubbles bouncing off each other. And no one has will over another because there's only one of us here. And we all have our own will without debate. Oh, you can give up your will through a consciousness of willing yourself to that, of course. But that's the experience of separation. So you have to look at this idea of externalism again. You have to really look at where you're putting your attention, where you're putting your energy. This doesn't work out for you. It doesn't matter. You can't lose this game. You can't win this game. You can only tell yourself the truth of the moment, which is A, yours, B, no one else's, C, incomparable, D, yeah, thank you, uncomparable or incomparable, D is unnegotiable. You've already given it. It's a pearl. It's done at your moment. So doesn't that give you a choice then? If all of that stuff out there, all of that knowledge you're feeding yourself on how do I do this? How do I do this? Here's what we have to do. Here's what we have to do. We have to. My God, we have to do this. We have to do that. I can't handle, we got to, come on, man. That is taking yourself and putting yourself in an external reality of purpose. And then what is that doing though? Is that accomplishing anything? Only if you say it is. You give yourself that accomplishment. And that's an emotional relationship of betterment, which is the same vibration as I'm lackful and I need to be better. So I'm vibrating the potential to be lackful. And if I choose it, I remain lackful. Lack is the idea of the outside is greater than the inside. Not incomparable, in value, where you put your attention, where you're sending your will of the now to create your reality. All of that knowledge. Has knowledge given you what you need? Are you ascended? Are you whole? Who sold you the story that you cannot ascend this game? Who sold you the story that the collective has to? Who sold you the story that these aliens need A, B, and C? Whoever did is irrelevant. It's that you accepted this truth and that created your reality. Now, and now, and now, and now, and now, and now, and now. Now. That's how it works. It never stops being the truth of yourself in the now. If you consciously choose, that you are aware of an emotional relationship of polarity and choose that as a truth, then that's not wrong, nor is it right. It could be right to you, and it could be wrong to you, but to the collective of all that is, they don't care because they can't translate what you are doing as something. They are experiencing you and translating what you are doing unto themselves. That's why your presence is already enough, because you're giving it. But the trick is here, which is not a trick, is to see that you're doing this to yourself. Are you aware of it yet? Are you aware of you carrying on the same story? How can anybody have trauma unless you say they are traumatized? Do they have a traumatic experience? Of course. But is that your business? How long will you carry the vibration of trauma? How long will you carry that in your string of pearls? Trauma. Mind you, the trauma didn't happen to you. You're seeing reality as traumatic. You're seeing them externalized as something, which is a relationship. That relationship is externalized. Why? Because you're labeling it outside of yourself as something that's measured in an idea of polarity. So you know it sits in the idea of conditioning. And this entire little bubble called humanity is a separated idea. And we know ourselves through the idea of polarity. Not God, fear. God, oh, not joy. Oh no, whole. Joy is a limitation. Oh, yes. Beyond joy. Unconditional is where you reside all the time. The humans are telling themselves stories. Each individual universe. You create your own earth, your own bubble, your own idea every day, every now, without anything telling you different. You choose it. Someone may offer it to you, and then you can take it. Emotionally, I took a lot of external truths, of course, because that's all I knew. I got here and I embraced the idea of separation when I was born, not even know to separate it. I was afraid, I was hate, I was love, I was joy, I was anger, I was frustrated, I was success, I was a liar, I was a cheat, I was a steal. I did everything I was supposed to do and wasn't supposed to do. I lived the absolute bliss of polarity, and I saw it. So what did I do? I start seeing I'm creating that experience, not intentionally. I'm not attracting negative stuff. I'm not attracting positive stuff. I'm a light bearer. I'm an awakener. I'm an ascender unto myself. What will I attract? I will attract opportunity to recognize in my kingdom my own interpretation that gives me my string of pearls. That pearl is neither positive nor negative. It is a bubble of experience filled every second. And that goes into my social memory complex of my own isness, my forged, growing being that continues to grow forever. And this is one of the stories. My human little self, just one singular iota story of the ever, ever growing I am, right? So I saw that I'm translating those things. I was externalizing them as something. I was taking the knowledge and putting it on that. And then I noticed, oh my God, 5 years later, I'm feel the same way. Separated. Not good, not bad. Not better, not worse. I felt polarized, conditioned in the infinite number of variances that is created within that field of vibrational frequency, by the way, which is endless. We can focus on conditioning for the rest of our internal, and we will find an infinite number of ways to condition ourselves. Why? Well, because creation by nature is unconditional, therefore it's always going to be continuous. If by nature we were conditioned, we would have already found the end of ourselves. We would have explored everything already. But since we are unconditional, we can never not continue, right? So I need you to look at yourselves. The school I just finished, the first week, the first month, the School of Recognition, it says you have to look at yourself. When someone makes you angry, you're interpreting that person, which is a unconditional expression of I am, and you're putting the conditions on it. You react to a relationship, and a relationship is not a male, female, romantic, not friendship. We're talking the interpretation relationship of your bubble, the relationship of the now that you're constantly having. Everything is relationship. How are you relating to this singular moment? If you are interpreting that reality as anything but what it is, it's an experience. If you are interpreting it as it is, what it is an experience. So which is the right one? All of them. No matter how you interpret it, it's your pearl. You've just created that. That's your now. String it together, and your next now, and your next now. And then you're in a lifetime. And when you choose to leave this lifetime, your string of pearls continues. Your sequential-taneous forever. So in the School of Recognition, after talking with the students I've had for the last 13 years, going through the ego classes, the SLY classes, all of this, I put together these things that says, recognize that you are angry because you're interpreting a reality of unconditional as angry. It's not neutral. You can put himself as a neutral reality, you to assign it. I say it's unconditional. Neutral gives a cause of emptiness. It's balanced in the middle. Means it doesn't have an opinion. The fuck it doesn't. An angry person cussing you out has an opinion. That ain't neutral. That's unconditional. A person that betrays you, that pisses you off, that gets you upset, that makes you feel disappointed, is an unconditional expression of all that is. How can you judge that lest ye have judgment? That is your recognition of, oh my God, I'm having a reaction to this reality. I am resisting it. See, my emotions say there is a frequency difference. Now, I can't get a better version of that because that's already unconditional. I got to get a better version of this. This is the unconditional. I am conditioned and I am unconditional. My fractal, Miss Roxanne, comes down and puts on conditioned eyes and goes, wow, hi, Mom, hi, Dad. You were supposed to love me. You were supposed to treat me well. You were supposed to encourage me. But you chose to criticize me, and you chose to tell me I was wrong, and you chose to compare me. You chose to make me look stupid. And I built a personality of hope and a personality of hate and betrayal, externalism. And therefore, every time you enacted, the dependency I relied on is to have the version of my parents that would give me cause to try to win them over, to get them to love me, because I didn't know how to love myself because no one taught me. So what did I do? Oh, I saw it was me. Now, did I resolve that in the first day? No, the first year? Fuck no. It took me 5 years to transcend my anger, my vibrational relationship. This is a journey of the nows, not a journey of time. I'm a time machine, so I can work for 5 years and give myself the memory of 1 year passing and take all of that vibrational work I did and bring it back and give myself 4 years less work to do the same thing. So I don't care about time. I'm not worried about where I'm going to go and if I'm going to finish on time or it's going to be. It doesn't matter. If I put that stipulation, then I'm creating my own limits. And therefore, I cannot get the vibrational attractions because I am conditioning my reality within the framework of that focus. So how can I get expansion if I'm focusing on the limitations of myself? Is that why we have the same story over and over again? You're just plugging in new variances? I had to see that in myself. My kingdom was mine to create. It was created on the truths that I coveted because I forgot everything. So I learned to hate. I learned to be angry. I learned to be betrayed. I learned to be a victim. I learned to be angry. I learned to be violent. I learned to help beyond the expectations of everyone at the expense of myself so I can feel valuable, that I was worth something because I gave this person something. And when I didn't get the reciprocation, motherfucker, was I crushed because I was expecting a return. I was trying to enslave humanity because I was doing the good thing and they didn't buy it because I wasn't actually doing the good thing. I was creating lack because I was not enough, and I relied on the externalism to validate my own self when I already am. I am. I am enough. My existence tells me that. I'm on the existence side of things. So I am. What greater idea than that? You got a better idea? I'll sell you a bridge in Brooklyn. You got to see that. I was creating all those things. By nature, I am a happier person because I got rid of my anger. I didn't throw it away. I transcended it. I allowed it to become me. I allowed it to encompass me. And literally, I learned anger. I learned hate. I became it. But I wasn't hateful. I wasn't angry. I experienced it. Just because I take it doesn't mean I do it. I accepted it, surrendered to it. I let it penetrate me. I let it fill me. So I may know those vibrational experiences as the surrendered experience, as the surrender conditioning of Roxanne, just being this total, absolute, defenseless creature of the now, to allow vibration to show me what I am in my vibrational truth. My will that I was creating, I became. And I cannot be those things, because once I know it, I cannot repeat myself, because I am the expansion and the constant of now. I am always changing. I can use a memory and try to do something, but you all know that's obtuse. You guys would never go and smash your hand in a door just for the hell of it. I know too much now. I've matured those ideas. Now I'm working on the limitations of my happiness. Because happiness, I discovered, is a state of being. I literally am happy for no reason. I don't need things to make me happy. But sometimes I react and I have joyful moments that will only end in an idea of limitation, returning me to a different state of being once that emotion has been used up. You guys ever see yourself trying to recreate happiness? I bet you do it every day. I bet you make effort every day to create yourself in an idea of a posture that your mind sells you what you're supposed to be. And your mind is your vibrational algorithm of separated being, the conditioning of you, the fractal. You, the awakener, the observer, must recognize in your kingdom those things. And I put together this so you can see this is me. It's not them, it's me. I'm going to own this shit. It's mine. And no matter how much it hurts inside of you to admit to yourself that that person, no matter how much they're doing things, and no matter how much you want to get back at them, no matter how much it's horrible, aren't you interpreting that? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Kingdom of heaven lies within. The truth lies in the eye of the beholder. What were these? Jokes? They're just one avenue out of the thousands of avenues we've given ourselves, these breadcrumbs along the way. And they weren't given by them. They were given by the day. I was going to say daywalkers. That's my book in the Angelics. By the light bearers of the generations. The ones that discovered. And put these down for us to see. We're always looking to the greatness of the next generation. The greatness of ourselves is blatantly obvious. We choose to diminish and externalize ourselves as the value of separation for the experience and the greatness of the separated experience of humanity, of your fractal. I get that, and you can have that. But there is another reality, and it is choice. Reality, either way, it doesn't matter what you do. No one's going to hold you accountable because there's no one in charge. What you're doing is giving yourself a life. But the observer sees itself and knows its choices. If it continues to look at the line of its own history, it shall remain the same. Not accomplished, in pursuit of accomplishment. Not successful, in pursuit of success. Not indifference, in pursuit of difference. It will sell itself of successful in differences and accomplished as it goes, but it will find itself wanting once again, empty, because that's the cycle itself. You've been doing it all your lives. I did, everyone. So we have to look at ourselves hard. I understand what this game is about. Now, I am a perspective, and I am by no means scripture. There are 1,000 ways to get home. But the one thing I know is if you repeat yourself in the consciousness of externalism, then you know that's the way you're going to go home. Because you're going to continue those string of pearls until you get home. And how do you go home? You die. We all die. Unless we choose not to. But we can't choose with arrogance. We have to choose with the intelligence of our knowing. And I can't do that. I can say I can, but that's my arrogance, isn't it? Because I don't know that yet. What I do know is I recognize my limitations. They lie in the idea of the confinements of emotion, the emotional content that my mind says about an external reality. If I interpret it as, then I recognize I have a transcendent moment and I can do my work. Or I can take that moment and I can continue it in the idea by keeping it externalized and validating the idea of the emotion through the counterance or the agreement is irrelevant. They're both the same thing, feeding the idea of limitations, conditioning. So therefore, I will continue my life. This life is yours. Start to own it. And when you see it, then take a chance on yourself and don't do it. They're easy. They're the moments when you see that you don't need to fix the broken, because that's a perception. That you were never obligated or responsible, that's a perception. That you are not needed because you are enough, encompassing all that is within your kingdom. Perspective, folks. My work is great because I live it and I feel it and I understand it. And I shall bear this light. And you will find it within your kingdom. And it's not debatable. It's not up to counter. It is so authentic and so real, you know. But you will do it your way. But you must see that you're doing it, and you've been doing it your way the whole time. And your reality, your memory, your gift of time, your asset, your ally, shows you what your life will be if you continue to make the same idea relationship choices. You'll get 100 different versions, but the frequency of conditioning shall remain. That's what you must see. You must see that, masters. Who's this guy? Amanda. Let me show that. Good. You're welcome, Light Master. Chicken. Who's chicken? Did chicken leave? All right, guys. Listen. I want to, let me see, the lion doesn't ask the sheep for their opinion on how to rule. That's a major responsibility. That's very good. Oh, pearls of wisdom. Very good, Amanda. All right. I'm asking if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat and I'll check out the chat right now. In the meantime, Naomi, I missed you today. I hope you're coming to class on Wednesday. Oh, no, you're going to. Oh, yeah, I think you're going to be there this week. I missed you this morning. Yeah, probably a bot or a troll. Okay. Look. I've done this work for the past, I guess it's 11 years. I say 13 years because that's when I woke up to Roxanne and start expressing Roxanne. And that was an ascension in and of itself. But the awaken work, the channeling and everything like that. I hope to see you Wednesday, darling. The channeling and my awakening. That's 9 years worth of work. Thousands of sessions. And I'm not doing that looking for the next moment. I'm observing every moment to see within that moment the pearls of wisdom that lie there for me to reflect, and I've got it all laid out. And it's good fucking shit. And what this does, it doesn't tell you how to live. It doesn't even tell you how to figure things out. It shows you. This work shows you you're the one doing this. Here's what you can see. And then how to do it will be up to you. You're enough. You can't fuck this up. You can't get it wrong. You don't trust your mind. You don't trust yourself. You're not sure if the truth is good enough for you, or is the truth going to be a mistake? Those are conditioned realities. Hi, Devlin. Okay? Thank you, darling. I want you to see that you're doing this. Nobody else. And it's not the idea of cause and effect. That's an external interpretation. It's not the idea of tracking positive and negative. That's the internal interpretation. What you need to see is that you are interpreting your reality that gives you the experience of the moment. And it's only yours. You can share it in commonality, but it's only yours truly. So understand that. Start to make your world small. Get the hell out of the business of what's not now. Get into the business of the here and now. Start to see how your experiences, how your behavior, how your vibrational relationship is starting to bring, continuing, let me put that down. There we go. Starting to bring in always the experience of the self. Okay? You create your own reality. Don't think in terms of manifestation and purpose and intention. Think of that statement. You create your own reality in a relationship of, I'm creating the reality I am through my relationship. If the moment isn't great, how do you reflect? Great question, Kate. What's telling you it's not great? A belief. Because the belief is saying that creation that is unconditional is less than, because you're feeling it emotionally. So actually the moment isn't telling you that. Your belief system that you are filtering the moment through, your translated truth, is telling you it's not great, but it is great. What is in the unconditional less? What in the unconditional is more? Nothing. It's all unconditional until you assign it, which is your relationship and therefore your experience. So you transcend that by seeing that's a belief system that I am. So that rape, that murder, that cop killing somebody, that killing at the school, that animal being slaughtered, that person that littered, that congressman that voted this way, the atrocities, that good Samaritan that did a good thing that makes me happy, all of those things are interpreted. You have to look at the belief system that says that, because it's all in the bubble of a condition. You want to see beyond polarity, beyond the idea of conditioning. And the only way to do that is to transcend your conditionings and surrender. Giving into it, admitting to yourself, that's your shit. I had to own my anger from my parents. They're gods that forgot living their lives. They're doing the best they can, but not consciously the best they can. They're doing the best they are every moment, because you can't have a lesser or a more self. You only have the best self every moment on your journey. That's always. So I can't blame them. And I can't blame myself because I forgot. So I have to be mature and start to observe and choose differently. I don't choose differently to see it differently. I accept the way I see it. And I allow the now and accept the way the truth it is, and then become that. Yes. State of being. That's the constant, isness. So I accepted my interpretations of reality. And I dealt the friction, the responsibility and the hate and the love and the joys. I just let them become. I let them awaken me, to feel me, to become that moment, so I know these things. I mean, why would I come into a conditioned world and avoid my suffering and avoid my hate and avoid my love and avoid my hope and avoid feeling good, avoid feeling bad? Why would I miss out on anything when I came here to create and experience everything that's possible in this? Why would I be a half-assed explorer of my own unconditional unknown? Because I forgot. Yes, those are your ideas. Very good, Amanda. You were doing that because you had no other truth, because you coveted the truth of that, and that became your will, and your will interpreted that immediately, and then all of a sudden you get to experience that, and you realize now, as the awakener, you are mature enough to see that as you creating that relationship, giving yourself that experience of that interpretation, and you surrender to that and say, that's mine. I own that. I don't need to fix it. I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to become it. That's what fixes it. That's what transcends that belief. My anger wasn't disappear. My anger was conditioned that I accepted, and it turned into unconditional because I didn't put any conditions back on my own conditioning. Trying to fix it. Right? This is good stuff. It freed me from the tendrils of time, the conditionings of the prison that I built around me for the experience. Humanity has a great way of putting all the blame on all these other things and themselves. They put causality on everything, which is an external idea that only vortex is the idea of the conditioned reality. And so you just continue your human journey in your own little bubble that's floating along in the now. So before I get out of here, remember, I'm in this bubble and I'm floating along. What am I going to attract? What's my focus? My focus is what? Self-discovery. So I'm going to attract a reality that shows me my discoveries, right? Here's what I'm discovering about myself right now. Am I resistant to the reality? Then am I not discovering a belief system that keeps me in a frequency of conditioning? Isn't that not what I want? I don't care why it's here. I don't care where it came from. Those are experience creating my pearl. Saying why is an assignment of externalism. Saying where it came from is an assignment of a now externalism. Creating another pearl. Boom, done. Next. How about this is here for me so I can see how I condition myself? This is here for me. Why did this thing come up? To say, hey, Roxanne, you're conditioning yourself. Do you want to look at this? No? Okay. I'll bring it in again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Because we don't miss out on opportunity. There is no loss in a wholeness of the now. There is only perception and your experience that you interpret as the experience of the separated self. That's all that's going on. That's all that ever shall go on. The I am creating its own little self, its own experience, its own book. Very good, Amanda. Yes, Kate, we are done. I live being done. I still have some segment of bullshits in my, but it's not the pain that I went through. Not down into the core beliefs, riddling myself, crying in the corner, thinking I'm going off the deep end, screaming at the top of my lungs, breaking dishes, angry at myself, wanting to end it all. Fuck you, game. I can't believe I did this to me. I went through all that. And yes, Kate, it ends. It does, because you transcend those beliefs and you find your isness that's irreplaceable. So therefore, you don't have an effort to continue to do it because you are natural now. Yes, there is that place, and I live it every day. I do have a constant vibrations here and there, a little friction. You know what I do? I get up every day and I live and I'm passionate no matter what I do. But I'm not like giddy like a school child. Oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm in my moment creating. And it doesn't matter what it is. And they're all variances of motion, but they're not emotional. They're not tied to an outcome. They're not tied to a purpose. Therefore, they are free to move in and through me. I'm 55. I tried college. I was horrible at school. I hated it. And to find myself writing a book, I'm 81,000 words into a book of this fantastic novel that's pouring out of me with no education, no proper idea, no way to do it, no training, because I'm God. I'm a creator and I'm creating. Is it going to be good? I don't care. Is it going to sell? I don't care. Because the relationship isn't externalized. It is an expansion and an exploration of self. And I found that by going through all of my purposes, all of my intention, all of my needs, wants, and desires. I explored them all to know that is my experience of my condition, only to leave me self unconditional. You don't have to let anger win, Devlin. It's not a competition. Don't beat it. Transcend it. Surrender to it. It's like when you're arguing with a person and then you don't argue with them. They're going to try to fucking get the argument because now you're starving them. You're agreeing with them. You're right. Absolute bravo. Here's your badge for your life, Sash. You did it. You won. And they're like, and you took it all away because you're giving them exactly what they don't want. Your anger wants to be fed polarity. That keeps it alive. But you surrender to it and you become it. Yes, Kate, it's the freedom of self. Don't worry about the world. Create your world. The things that come into your world are relationships of your journey. I still get fractal ideas, but I don't see them fractalized anymore. I still interact with humanity daily, but I don't see them in judgment. Hello, Vortex. Okay? This is great work we do. We're light bearers on a planet that doesn't know its own beauty, its own light. It isn't about how much we can do this or what we can do that or how we can make another law or make these people or tell these people. We don't need to externalize. We need to represent the authentic internal light of I am. And you express it not in purpose. You don't express it by being a posture of something that's supposed to be spiritual. You be your authentic self. Raw, unapologetic, non-negotiable, I am, and learn yourself. I got 700 some videos. Go back and watch the oldies. That was me evolving. I will never be those selves anymore. I can't regret those selves, nor do I cherish those selves. Those are my expansions of now. Those are my journeys of discovery. Go forth and do not ever darken your life for the external ever again. Don't do it. Don't shade yourself. Brighten yourself. Let people reflect. Let them get mad at you. Let them not understand you. You're not responsible for them. You're giving them what they came here to get. Change. We can keep them the same by feeding them exactly what they want. And then everyone has a moment of the same, and we all feel good in our ideas of conditioning. But we want to feel uncomfortable and uncertain and expansive in the idea of the unconditional, the uncertain self, the unknown self, the emptiness, filling up with nothing but the isness, the unfamiliar I am. We know exactly what the fractal is. We feel it every day. We don't need to continue that self. We're worth our own journey. I swear to you, we are. So you find yours. My channel has all the stuff you need. If you need some ideas, email me. My channel's there, or my website. You know how to connect with me. I have the schools every Wednesday. It's good work. It's brutal work. It's honest work. It's not work of happiness or sadness. It's transcendence work. It's emerging out of the cocoon we created around ourselves for the unique experience of conditionings. But we, as the internal, must deplete the conditionings through our own unconditional. It's up to ourselves, this light there, to enlighten its own kingdom and clean its own house and return the kingdom. Period. My view, though, right? My view. All right, guys. Listen, I love you. And I love you because I love me. And that is fantastic to finally say, goddamn, I'm good with me. I really love you, Roxanne. You're doing great, kid. You're doing great. You know? So I think I'll end it here. Two things. Again, I love you, Amanda. How did you overcome fear? Fear is the same thing. I accepted it and I took no action on it. Until the action to take it came blatantly obviously, it wasn't a fearful action, it was a transcendent action. But the fear is never in the now. It's never in the now. Fear is in time. That's where it lives. You're welcome, Amanda. So if you like the channel, go to my website if you want information on the classes. And if you want maybe a session or shoot the shit with me, find me there. We can work with that. Also, there's a donation. If you like my work, feel free to donate. And till our next now, I'll do a pop-up. Both of you guys, two of you. You guys know that I do pop-ups during the weeks. And then every Sunday, the last Sunday of the month, I do this live. So don't hesitate, guys. Go and find your light and express it without apology. I love you all. Good night, everyone.